welcome to my channel. My name is Rita from Craftfully Made, and today's tutorial is a fun one. It's simple, it's easy, and it's very practical. It's a pencil pouch, and it is called the Daydream Pencil Pouch because it was designed to go along with my pattern, the Daydream Notebook cover. Here's the Daydream Notebook cover. And the pouch, the pencil pouch, goes along perfectly with it. Now, the pouch is a free pattern that I will link in the description below. Please be aware that there are no written instructions for this pouch. I have only included the pattern pieces in the PDF along with SVG files. So you have to follow along with this tutorial to complete your pouch. And also be aware that the HTV vinyl that I have used on my pouches are not included in the pattern. All right, so you can add an elastic on the pouch so that it wraps around perfectly on your notebook cover. Or you can just do it without the elastic as a standalone pouch for your notebook covers. Other option gives you a fun and cute project. If you'd like to purchase a notebook cover, there's a link in the description below. The notebook cover comes with a full pattern instructions along with its own video tutorial. Okay, are you ready? Let's get started. To complete your pencil pouch, you will need your two exterior pieces, the front and the back, and I have added a heat transfer vinyl to my front. You will need two pieces of your lining, zipper with the pull attached, zipper tab, and your elastic. Then you want to mark the centers on the top edges of your front and back exterior pieces along with your lining pieces. First, you want to place the zipper and the zipper tab right sides together at this end. Align the edges, clip to hold in place. You want to take to your machine and sew out a 1/4 inch seam allowance from that edge. Once you're done sewing, you want to wrap your tab from the front to the back of your zipper, clip to hold in place. You want to take this to your machine and top stitch out a 1 inch seam allowance from this folded edge. Afterwards, you would trim your extra tab here at the side so it's even with the zipper, and at the back, you just want to trim it slightly so it's not that long. With top stitching done, you want to leave your zipper right side up and then measure from this very end of your zipper tab 7 3/4 of an inch and then place marks on the top and bottom of your zipper. Then you want to pinch at the mark, turn your zipper on an angle, and you can take this to your machine sew to hold in place, hand sew, or you can use a lighter to hold in place. And I'm going to try to see if I can use a lighter to cinch that and hold it in place. So I try to use a lighter to belt this and I kept burning my fingers. So I'm going to do the try and true method of just hand sewing in place. Once that is done, you want to trim the excess zipper tape that was booking on the sides so that it's even with your zipper, and then fold your zipper in half and mark the centers on the top and bottom. Then you want to grab your front exterior piece, lay this right side up, and I like to add double-sided tape at that top edge, starting about 1/2 inch in and ending about 1/2 inch from this other side. And you're totally free to use clips or you can baste your zipper in place at this time, but I like using double-sided tape for this step. Now I want to lay the zipper right sides together with your front exterior piece, match up the centers, and just align your edges. You just want to make sure your zipper is close into the left. Grab one of your lining pieces and you place this piece wrong side up on top, match up your centers, and align your edges. So basically your zipper is sandwiched between the exterior and the lining. And now take this to your machine and you want to sew out a 1/4 inch seam allowance away from the top edge. Okay, after we're done sewing our pieces together, this is what we want to do next. We want to make little snips into the seam allowance of just the lining piece about 1/2 inch in from both sides. So you'll come over here. So fold your seams open here, just like that. You just want to make little tiny snips. Do not cut through your stitches, okay? You just want to make little snips up to your stitches, but do not cut through it. And you're doing this just on the lining. And then we'll do it on the other side. So just like that. And then what I like to do at this point is to add double-sided tape at that edge. And then this one over here. And then fold that lining down, the seam allowance down. So this is how your piece will look. the snip ends of your lining, they're all folded down. Now what you want to do is to finger press the rest of your seams towards the exterior. So just like that. And then we'll flip this over, take to the machine, and we're going to top stitch at a 1/8 seam allowance from the folded edge. So as you're top stitching from the beginning here, your seams are folded open, and then the rest are towards the exterior. And as you come to the end here, they're folded open again as you sew down. Okay, so what this does is just to reduce bulk in the seams here when you go to put the pouch together at the end. So that's why we're leaving that open. I think I forgot to mention this. When you go to top stitch, you are not top stitching through the lining. So you will have the lining out of the way, like so. So the exterior is over this side, the lining is over this side as you top stitching. Done top stitching at the front and the back. This is how you want that to look. The seam is butterfly open here, and then the rest down towards the exterior as you top stitch, and then butterfly open here. All right, so one thing I like to do, and it's totally optional, is to add double-sided tape at that seam allowance. And that is just for my own peace of mind, because we did not top stitch through the lining. Sometimes there's this tiny risk of the lining being pulled up and cut into the zipper. So I just do that. And I do not remove my backing just yet until the very end. So I'll just put that on right at that seam allowance and just leave it be for now. And I'll just pull my lining down and finger press at that fold. All right, so we'll turn it over to the right side, and I want to add double-sided tape at that top edge of our zipper. All right, now you want to grab your back exterior piece along with the elastic if you're using one. What you want to do now is to fold your back piece in half like so. You just want to mark the centers on both sides. We're just folding in half and marking the center. And then we'll do the same on the other side. All right, so what we want to do next is to align the short edges of our elastic to the side of our back piece. And that's why we marked the center here, because we want to center this on the back. If your elastic has a right or wrong side, you will place this right side up. Your back piece is right side up, and you'll place your elastic right side up. And just mark the center. Mine already has the center line, so I'll just center that over. So matching up my center here. And then clip to hold in place. And then do the same on the other side, making sure your elastic is not twisted as you do this. Now we'll take this to the machine and just baste in place at a 1/8 seam allowance. With your elastic basted in place, you want to now remove the backing from the double-sided tape that was placed on your zipper. And then with your front piece right side up, you will place your back piece right side down, match up the centers at the top, and align the edges. All right, so flip your piece over, grab the remaining lining, and you'll place this right side down, match up the centers, align the edges, clip to hold in place, take this to the machine, and sew at a 1/4 inch seam allowance away from the top edge. And just be mindful of your elastic. You want to make sure that's down and out of the way. Okay, we are done sewing our pieces together, and now it's the time to top stitch, and we will do this similar to how we did the front. Do you remember? We will make little snips here, about 1/2 inch in here and 1/2 inch in here. Butterfly that same open using double-sided tape, and then the rest of the same, we're going to fold that down, finger press that down towards the back exterior, and then flip it over to the right side and top stitch, making sure the line is out of the way as we top stitch. All right, top stitching is done, and as you see from the back, the seams are open here, and then fold it down towards the back exterior. And again, I have added my double-sided tape, but leaving the back in. And we'll just finger press our lining down. All right, so this is how that looks right now. At this time, I want to place both our exterior pieces right sides together. Make sure your zipper is open, and you want to match the seams. And this is why we butterfly these seams here, just so it reduces bulk at this end. And make sure your zipper tab is pushed towards the lining as you're doing this. And then just go all around and clip your exterior in place. And again, you just want to be mindful of your elastic that it's not in the way. And then at this end, we will again match up our seams. All right, now for the lining, you want to clip the hole in place, but you're not going to clip all around because we need to leave a turning hole for the pouch. So we'll just clip the sides and they're about 1 inch in at the bottom here. All right, so now is the time to take this back to our machine and sew at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Remember, we're leaving a 6 or 7 inch turning hole at the bottom of our lining. So this is how I like to sew my piece together. I like to start about 1 inch or so in here, but I'm going to start at this very bottom here. Go up, stop at the seam allowance, a 1/4 inch seam allowance, pivot, and then keep sewing all the way around. Come over here, go in about 1 inch or so, stop, pivot, and then sew down, making sure the back stitch really well. Another thing I like to do before I start sewing around is to sew my seams here, just to bist that in place. And what that does is just to keep it aligned properly so it's not shifting as I'm sewing around. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Bist right here first, and then start over here and sew around. We are done sewing around the pouch and leaving the turning hole at the bottom here. Again, I started at this very bottom, went up, stop, pivot, and then sew across. Stop, pivot, and sew down. Next is to trim the seam allowance, but do not trim your turning hole, okay? So just snip a little bit here, and then just go around and trim your seam allowance to about 1/8 of an inch. And now is the fun part. We get to turn the pouch right sides out. All right, just make sure you're poking out your corners too. All right, so before I sew my lining closed, what I want to do next is to remove the backing from those double-sided tape that I placed earlier. Remember those at the seam allowance? If you place it in there, this is the time you want to remove the backing, and then you just finger press your lining here so that it sticks to that double-sided tape. Okay, so poke out the corners in your lining, and then you'll fold the edges in, clip the hole in place, take to the machine, and sew your lining close at a 1/8 seam allowance. Okay, once that is done, push your lining back into your pouch. Poke out the corners, zip your pouch, and you are all done. And we are done with a Daydream Pencil Pouch. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you had a blast. Comment below if you have any questions or concerns, or shoot me an email anytime.